How many student visas did the High Commission issue for Malaysian students this year, and what was the success rate like?
Over the summer period, which is obviously our biggest period, there were just over 6,000 applications processed, and well over 90% of those were successful, and a number of the 10% were resubmitted and were then successful. We obviously need to make sure that when people apply, they give all the right documentation. So that's been one of our big efforts this year, to make sure that people don't lose out on a visa just because they've misunderstood the instructions or not given the right paperwork.
Our success approval rating has always been at the higher end of the 90s. It's about 97, 98% of approvals. This year, was it
this year, I think it was lower than that, but it was an improvement on the figures for the previous year. So I think people are getting more used to the system and applying in a better way. But each year we hope that figure will go up.
On trade, the figure from January to September has this year compared to last year has increased by 200 million pounds. Can we assume that, then we take it that the tough business conditions in the UK has gone past us?
I think it's still a very challenging economic environment, but that's why trade links with countries like Malaysia, where the growth rate is still higher and in the region of 6%, is very important to us. The government really wants to promote our trade as a way of helping us get through this economic downturn. So we're hoping by the end of this year our exports will have topped £2 billion for the first time, and the imports from Malaysia are around 1 billion, maybe a bit higher than that.
When will our Prime Ministers have their first bilateral meeting?
Well, they've already had a very good telephone conversation shortly after our Prime Minister took office, and we're actually currently in discussion with the Prime Minister's office about the best way of getting the two Prime Ministers together, but that's certainly the intention on both sides. There should be an early meeting.
So on tourism, London remains, I think, one of the top destinations for Malaysians to visit. How do you intend, the London Games 2012 is just around the corner. Now, how do you intend to promote that here?
Well, I think in a sense, for a sports-loving nation like Malaysia, the attraction of going to London for the Olympics will be very strong without us having to do a lot of promotion. I think it's going to be a very exciting Olympic Games. They're already well ahead of schedule in building some excellent facilities. The transport links, the East London line, are all going to be enhanced and improved for the Games. So we very much hope and expect a lot of Malaysians and people from the region to want to go to London for the Olympics.
You have a good grasp of Mandarin, and I'm told, and the Star has a huge number of Chinese readers. Would you like to say anything to them in their language?
我非常高兴能够在马来西亚当大使。我希望将来跟这里的中国民众有很多的密切的关系。谢谢。
What was that?
That was, I'm very pleased to be High Commissioner here in Malaysia, and I hope in the future to have very close relations with the Chinese people based here.
All British High Commissioners get asked this question as soon as they arrive here. So which football club do you support?
Well, I support Manchester United, and that opinion became stronger when I discovered that the Agong and the Prime Minister both shared that view. But I have discovered since coming to the Star that I maybe have made the wrong choice, and there are other very popular teams here. But no, I like all English football, but particularly Manchester United.
One last question, High Commissioner. Even great ambassadors accomplished only 2 or 3 big things during their term here. And what would you like to have accomplished during your 4 years here?
Well, that's limiting me a lot, but one thing I would really like to do is to give Britain a very modern, business-like profile here in Malaysia. I know we have very strong historical links and ties, but I want people to really understand Britain as a modern, dynamic, creative country. So to dispel some of the old images of Britain and really give it a dynamic and modern feel. Obviously, I would like to create a much closer political relationship covering everything from foreign policy issues through trade and investment, through defence relations and science and technology. But above all, I'd just like to deepen the already strong friendship links between Britain and Malaysia. I've been struck since I arrived that almost everyone has some connection with Britain, whether it's because they've studied there, their children are studying there, they support a football team, they're involved in the legal or accountancy profession, which are very closely linked with ours. But I feel very much at home here, and there are lots of familiar things, and I would really like to feel that the people-to-people links are probably the most important thing that I can promote while I'm here.
I understand you'll be spending your first Christmas here in Kuala Lumpur, and you're going to Bangkok for the holidays with your family.
That's right. So. Yes, I have 3 children, one of whom's already spent most of the 2 months with me. She's in her gap year before she goes up to Cambridge. And our other 2 have already graduated and are working, but they're looking forward to coming out to Malaysia at Christmas. And I think it's a great place to get a bit of sun and away from the extremely cold weather that everyone's experiencing in Britain at the moment.
High Commissioner, I'd like to thank you for your time and for your briefing and for your visit to Banana Star. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, I enjoyed being here. Thank you.